What up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be upgrading my laptop ready for GROCS January. So let's get into it. So the plan is to upgrade the laptop ready for GROCS January in future GROCS events because I was running terribly low on space and it was still only had an old spinny hard drive in it, so I thought, well, while we're upgrading it I might as well chuck all SSDs in it. So it's going to have a SATA SSD, a 2TB, a 1TB NVMe SSD, and while I'm at it I'm going to change the thermal paste. So let's get started. Okay, I realise I probably should have done this before I took them out of the box. I completely forgot, but I'm using, for the SSD, well, I want the hard drive and replace, and I'm replacing it with a 2TB SanDisk SSD Plus. I wanted an Ultra, but this was a lot cheaper. Well, there's you know, probably like 35 quid, something like that cheaper. I missed the deal, which really annoyed me, but but it's plenty fast enough, and this is only a storage drive. The main one I wanted to be a quick one was this Crucial one, and this is an NVMe. I know it's a Gen 4, but it was cheaper to get a Gen 4 that's compatible with Gen 3 than buying a Gen 3, weirdly enough. But anyway, this is the one I went with. That was, I think, £105. That was £70, I think. And then this was like on Black Friday, it was like a tenner, I think. But it's a little enclosure, and I went with FiberCo, if that's how you say it, because my dock is a FiberCo, and I know that works really quite well. So, and so far, as you will see in a later clip, it's working very well. It's very quickly. So happy with that. So when I come back, we'll probably be cloning stuff. I can't remember. I'm not actually sure which order I'm going to do this, but we'll work it out. Right then, so I've got into CloneZilla. CloneZilla is just saved on my SanDisk. It doesn't have to be SanDisk. It's just that's the spare one I had at the time, but it's got to be at least, I think, 4 GB. But I'll save that on there, and I will see if I can get a copy of the command I used or something like that if needed. But basically you got to follow all the prompts to go through. I think I meant to film this while I was doing it, but I was that confused by it I didn't. But yeah, I think I did local disk to local disk, and then I went through the wizard, and now we're copying data, which is very nice, and it's going quite quickly as well, I suppose, because it's going through from SATA NVMe to NVMe, M2 NVMe via USB-C. So it's quite quick. I think they said it was doing like, well, there you are, it's 12 GB per minute now. So this is not going to take very long, which is good because I'm impatient. So I'll come back to you when it's done. And my bloody foot was right next to that when I was recording that clip. It's now boiling. I'd rather have that than it cold, though, I'm going to be honest. Right, it's done a few more partitions. It finished that big one, which I'm assuming that was the main Windows partition. And I think we're about to finish this up, doing its amazing 15 GB per minute speed. I don't know what that clunk was. It's good, isn't it? It looks like we are not done. I'll come back in a moment. This looks promising. Oh, look. Lots of text. So I think we're pretty much done now. Running some command. I don't know what that does. I'm not a Linux person, as you can probably tell. I enjoy fiddling with Linux stuff, don't get me wrong. I like Raspberry Piing and all that jazz, but some of this stuff is a bit baffling, but I'll come back when it's finished. Right then, apologies if you can hear the heater. It's freaking cold in the UK at the moment, but it looks like we're all done, so I'm just going to press continue, and that's it. I think we're done, so I can power this off. I'm going to make sure I power it off because I want to unplug that first, else that's going to get really confused if there's two identical drives on the system. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back probably for the disassembly next, because I need to get the drive out of this to clone it on my hard drive dock. So I'll be back. Okay, slight change of plan. It's getting a bit late, as you can tell by the it being dark outside. So what I've decided to do, I'm going to use CloneZilla to clone it while it's still in the laptop, because then that way I can still use it tomorrow, because I need to do parcels and things like that. So I'm going to use this. I picked this up before, and I think this is what I used to clone on my main hard drive, but it's a Sabrent 2.5-inch SATA hard drive SSD adapter to USB 3. So it's not quite as quick as the USB-C, but it still be fairly quick. And then this way I don't have to worry about it being in bits when I need it tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll come back to you when that's done. Right, well, it's finished. So that didn't take too long, actually. It wasn't too bad. It was about an hour, which to a USB 3 isn't that bad. And it was over a terabyte. Well, it wasn't over a terabyte, but it was a terabyte practically full of data, so that was good. So it was give me time to finish these, which are bagging up these bags of little street lamps for model railways, available at my Squirrel Wizard eBay store if you're interested. It's a bit of shameless self-promotion there, but I need to run out of air. So I think that's going to be it for today, and we'll come back tomorrow. We'll take the thing apart, we'll change the thermal paste, we'll change the hard drives, and then we'll be good to go. Right, I've got the trusty iFixit kit, and we're going to take this apart. So time lapse. Right, I've got it apart. The top is, do you know what? This is not too bad to get off. I started using a little one of these iFixit plectrum guitar pick things around the edge just to get it started. Then I found it easy to just run my fingernails along the edge, and then it just all popped off. So it wasn't too bad. Slightly faffy, but not too bad. So now, as you can see, I've already replaced the RAM at some point. And I actually bought RAM that was much more fast. Is that even, you know what I mean? It's faster than the laptop can actually handle. So it's running slower, but it was cheaper anyway. So as much as it would have been nice to have the faster speed, I'm not too bothered about it. But RAM's already been upgraded, so I won't bother changing that. But this is the SSD, the NVMe. Well, I believe it's actually a SATA. I'll have to look at it when I'm the right way up, but I believe it's actually a SATA SSD, or SATA M2 based drive then originally, but I'm replacing it with an NVMe M2 drive, which should be faster, and apparently these do take it quite nicely, so that's good. Hard drive over here, again same deal, it's mechanical hard drive normally. I don't think it's a hybrid, I think it's a mechanical, but once I get it out we'll be able to see that. But again, that's being swapped out for a SATA SSD. So this will be completely SSD based. There'll be no noise in terms of hard drive noise anymore. But yeah, I believe a lot of these connectors are, there's probably some other videos online doing a better job of it than me, but I think that's your keyboard connector, and I think that's for your touchpad, and I believe this is for the little board that does the USBs over here, I believe. Apologies if you can hear that. It's freezing in the UK at the moment, and I've got my heater on, so I do apologise. Yeah, so the next step is to, oh, that's the Wi-Fi board if you ever want to change or upgrade that as well. Next step then. Okay, first thing you want to do if you're doing this yourself is paramount. You disconnect the battery first, because if you disconnect anything else on the board and you're not, you know, completely perfect with your execution, you could short something else and short something out and damage it. So first things first is to disconnect the battery. No, first things first is to actually unscrew the battery, which should be this one over here, and this one here, I believe, and one down here, and I think it's these two and these two, I believe, and there's one there. We'll find out in a moment. So I was correct. There's one here, one here. What? There's a dog. One moment. Right, I'm back from Distracto Dog. Right, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Battery screws are here, 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 and here. And then the battery just pops out like this, and then you can, gives you enough room to then get to the connector. Ow! Just hit myself on the... Am I still framed up? Because I just hit my head on the thing. It's actually this way. You should be able to just disconnect this like so. Do you know what? It still boggles me that something that thin and small comparatively can power this thing for like a couple of hours. But anyway, now we should be mostly safe. It's, do you know what? It's good practice, and I'm going to do it. If I can open the... I should have left the screen open. Bad mistake on my part. There we go. It's good practice to the power button, which is on the inside, under there. Good practice just to hold that for a few seconds, just to make sure the thing is completely powered down. There's no capacitors charged or anything like that. So that should be long enough. My screen's dirty. Dust on that, it's wrong. Right, so that's good then. So next step then, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off the heatsink and I'm going to replace the thermal paste. This is Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut, I believe, and I must thank my friend Charlie for this, because he lent me this for this project and for my other computer project, and he still hasn't had it back, so I appreciate this, Charlie, thank you. So what I'm going to do now is take off the heat sinks, which should be, I believe, I keep hitting me head on the, because I've got it, you can't see, but I've got it, the phone sitting on my upside down magnifying glass, hanging over the edge so I can record this. I've got nothing better at the moment. Anyway, side note, yes, so I'm going to take apart these, which should be that one, that one, that one, that one. This is the GPU, and then these four here, which is, this is the CPU, this is the GPU. Sadly, these are soldered on this model, so there's not really much, you know, scope to upgrade other than your hard drives and your memory. But to be honest, I'm glad that they allowed you to have upgradable memory, to be honest, because a lot of laptops these days don't. So I'm going to do that, and we'll be back in a moment. Just a side note with these are all spring loaded, obviously, because they've got to keep tension down on the processor and the GPU. So what you can do is you turn it up. Well, you probably don't strictly need to do that in reverse like I'm doing. I'm just bouting braces, but you'll feel it when you go for so far. You'll feel a click, and that's basically means it's all the way out of its slot, or all the way out of its screw hole, I should say. So I'm going to do for this same for this one, and then we'll be back. just side note, these actually do come all the way out. These are spring loaded and stay in place. These do come all the way out. So good practice is to keep your screws. So what I've been doing, if I can pick this up without knocking it all over, because that would be absolutely disastrous. But what I've been doing is, in the order I've been taking them out, I've been sort of mapping them out in the same sort of spaces in the lid of the iFixit kit. But obviously, if you don't have an iFixit kit, just somewhere that you can keep track. So that means I can put them back in the exact same space. Not that it matters too much, because most of them are the same, you know, for each part. But I'm just making sure. But yes, let's get this CPU off. I mean the cooler off. You know what I mean. Oh, I've done it again. Right, this then now should this whole cooler mechanism should come off, and it might be sticky like mine is, because it's probably the thermal. This one's come away nice, which is good. It's the CPU. They're in the factory. There, you'll see in a moment, but they gob a load of thermal paste on here, and if this has been working hard, which it has been, because it's been doing encoding and stuff for GROCS, it's probably quite stuck on. So I'm gonna gingerly try and pull this off without damaging anything. One moment. Right, this is not playing ball, so what I'm gonna do, you might have to do this as well. I'm going to get my heat gun and just warm it very gently. Wherever I've put it. Some of you old school Lidl fans may recognise this brand. This is very old. This is like 10-15 years old, this thing, but it still works. But I'm just going to put it on the low setting, and I think on the low setting for this one, it appears that it will be, what is that in, it's in Fahrenheit, but it doesn't say, whatever it is, it's 608 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that is in, Alexa, what's 608 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
608 degrees Fahrenheit is 320 degrees Celsius.
What's
By
she?
the way, you have a new notification.
I don't, oh no.
Do you want to hear it?
Not really. She's just trying to hijack my video, that's what it is. I'll talk to you in a minute, love. Yes, so that's about 300 degrees, and it's on the lowest setting, and I'm not going to be like dead on it like this. I'm going to be sort of a little bit away, and I'm just going to warm it through slightly, gently, to release that thermal paste. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, ow, yeah, that's warm. In case anybody's wondering, I call my heat gun Mr. Starmer because it's full of hot air. I'm joking, please don't shout at me in the comments, I'm joking. Right, I don't want to go too mad with it, so let's try again. That's gone on the floor. Ah, and there we go. She's released. Just like that, you see? See, just a little bit of warmth. A little bit of heat. So you can do that. You don't need a heat gun to do that. Especially now, because I think I've just broken mine. It's on the floor. Sort that out later. You can just use air dry will be enough. And it's just to release it slightly. So, underneath here, you can see you've got the old thermal paste. And they really do gob it on in the factory. I think they just have a splodge and then you go... technical term that. So I'm going to try and clean all this off, and I'm going to very, very gently clean all of this off, and then we'll put some new thermal paste on it, and then I'll spread it out with something. I'll find a spatula or something. Make it nice and even on each one. Put that back down, and then oh yes, I might take these fans out as well and give them a bit of a dust, because they are looking a little bit dusty. Not as bad as I thought, honestly, but a little bit dusty. I think I will take them out now. Right, there should be just two. Yeah, they're really not too bad considering this has been working quite hard. And then just disconnect the connector here. You might need to get a little blade screwdriver on it, but I've managed to just flick it out just like that. You can just use my thumbnail and flicked it out. I shall give them a blowout with the Chooch Blaster 5 million, i.e. the Compu Cleaner. Brilliant little tool then if you ever do this a lot and you're worried about moisture from compressors, get a Compu Cleaner, they're brilliant. So I'm going to do the same for that one, and then give them a clean out, and then I'll clean that off, and we'll be back. Just so you know, they are slightly different, because this one has a screw mounting it here and here. This one has a roughly the same one here, but it's further in on this one, so they are handed. So get this one out, and then it is. Oh yeah, because this one's got a clip round the outside of it. Yeah, this one's got a little wire that runs around the outside in these little clips. So if you just release that, and then you can get to the little connector, which is this way on this one, and that is fan number 2 extracted. Right, now what? Yes, cleaning. That's what I was going to do, cleaning. This is a Compu Cleaner, just if you were interested. This is the older model. They do a nice fancy black one now, but there's just a little switch on the top, and you whoosh, and then they come with a bunch of different nozzle sizes and things like that. So I'm going to give it a blast. Right, I'm going to use the jet nozzle, but just when you're cleaning fans, it is very important that you don't let the fan spin, because if you let the fan spin, it will go like to 1,000,000 RPM. Maybe not that fast, but you'll probably damage the fins and stuff in here, so you just want to give it a quick blast. Ignore my floor. And there we go. One clean fan. I shall do that with the other one. Fan number 2. Right, I think I'm done with the Compu Cleaner now. I'm going to keep it out just in case, but the rest of this looks pretty damn clean, honestly. I'm quite surprised. Normally laptops, get a mega dusty. But yes, right, onto this now. This is the cleany part. That's pretty clean. Just out of it, it's just in case you're wondering, I am using isopropyl alcohol to clean this. 99.9% pure. If you get that reference, you win a sweetie. No, go and check out Stez Sticks Fix on YouTube. He is freaking brilliant and hilarious. Anyway, I'm gonna carry on cleaning. Oh, got a cut on my finger and it hurts now. I got that in it. So that is the heatsink clean. So I must bring back the laptop. Right, I'm going to do the same thing for those now. I'm going to change sides. The only difference with this one though, I'm not going to spray directly onto there. I'm going to spray onto here and then wipe. Just probably fine, but paranoia. Also, as I'm doing this, it does occur to me I was an idiot. I was going to do a before and after temperatures. Can't do that now, but never mind. I mean, it's been proven pretty much online that this makes, or can make, up to like a 20-degree difference just going with good thermal paste on these. So it's going to be an improvement. And hopefully you shouldn't thermal throttle as well, because that's one thing with these as well. They thermal throttle with the original thermal paste, whereas if you upgrade the thermal paste, they don't anymore. And also, some people, I don't think I obviously didn't go down this route by myself, but I don't think I would go down this route by myself. But some people do liquid metal. Which is a absolutely phenomenal, heat conductor and really does reduce the temperature of these things. But if it's fully conductive, like full on conductive, so if you get any of it where it shouldn't be, you're in trouble. Whereas Cryonaut is not conductive, and also the thermal paste out the factory isn't conductive either, which is why they just splodge it on. I wonder if I can get that with a flux brush. That might be a little bit easier. Right, I've got to clean one of these. This is an anti-static cleaning brush. Brand new, I haven't used it because I don't want to contaminate this with flux or anything. And I'm just going to use it to loosen the bits where I can't quite get to with the thingamigummy. Incidentally, if you haven't got an anti-static brush like this, I've seen people have luck with a clean toothbrush because they don't hold much static either. But be warned, you know, just be careful, and if possible, ground your brush before you start. You know, just sort of rub it against something grounded metal, like the case of the computer or something like that. If you're working on a computer, or if you're working on one of these, just something metal, ideally. Right, CPU's looking pretty good. Let's move on to the GPU. One tip with doing this is I find changing bits of your paper, like after each wipe, works wonders, because this stuff tend to build up quicker than you think, and if you can get it away, move it away from where you're cleaning after every wipe, then you see, just after that wipe I've got quite a big gob off of it, so it helps remove it rather than just smearing it around. Right, I think I'm going to go try the brush again just to get the last bits off. Righto. Needless to say with this, be gentle. There's a lot of tiny little components around everything. So when you're wiping, don't be too rough with it. I've been just doing the lightest touch with my finger, and that's why the brush really helps, because it helps you get all that crap in between the the components without having to drag across them too much. So I think I'm happy enough with that. It's not perfect. I could probably do a better job of that. Do you know what? That's annoying me, so I will do a better job of it. There we go. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to push me luck. But they're pretty nice and shiny. And the dies are nice and shiny. That's the main part. This is the bit that produces most, like the absolute majority of the heat, because that's where all the little circuitry and stuff is. So, right, now I'm going to apply some Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut. And I need a spreader. One moment. Right, this is going to make me look like a massive shill for my own company, but that's the only thing I could find. So I'm going to use a Squirrel Wizard business card. Go and check my website out. Anyway, I'm going to just put a dollop on each of these then and spread them out. And then we'll put the cooler back on. Actually, do you know what? I think... No, I will do that first, because I think it'll be easy to get the fans in afterwards. Right, so I'll put that on now. Right, as you've probably seen, I've just cleaned that back off. And you think, why have you just cleaned that back off? Because this thing is sodding empty. I've used it all. Oh, what am I going to do now? I'm going to see what thermal paste I have, and if I've not got anything particularly that good, I'll probably leave this as it is and order some for Amazon next day. I'll be back. Right then, I don't have... Well, I have thermal paste, but none of it that I would actually want to put on here. That would make a noticeable difference from the factory thermal paste. So, I've ordered some Thermal Grizzly Duranaut, which apparently is their next generation Cryonaut. Similar, very similar performance, if not better in some cases, but also apparently it doesn't. I can't remember the term it used now. I think it doesn't sort of settle over time and splodge out the edges. I think that's what it's referring to anyway. So I've ordered some of that for next day. So in the meantime, I'm just going to do the hard drives instead, and then we'll come back to this tomorrow and we'll finish it off. Right, I'm going to do this because this is the easiest thing to change, so I'm going to do that first. So that just, you see how it's pinging up or whatever, it's sort of kind of spring loaded, and then you just gently pull that out, and that is all of my old data, although it's all on the new one anyway because I transferred it. But yes, I'm going to go and get that. Hang on. Right, this is the enclosure we used earlier, so I'm just going to extract the drive and fit it. Key with any of this is gentleness. You don't want to heavy hand any of these screws. If anything's not going, don't try and force it. Distracto dog's back. I think she shut up now. No, she hasn't. Now I think she has. Yes, she has. Okay. Now I'm going to take out the hard drive, and the hard drive is a case of you've got to disconnect, I believe. Oh, I've hit my head off the thing again. I'm going to kill that dog. Please, don't mind her. She's gobby. So basically, you've got to remove this here to give yourself enough room to get this out. And this is a 0 insertion force connector, so you should be able to just flick this up. Okay, so just a word of warning, that is stuck down to that, so I'm going to disconnect this first, and then I can sort of gently peel that off, and then that'll come off, because this is all going to come out. Right, this is a 0 inversion. I just put my teeth back in. This is a 0 inversion force or a ZIF connector. So these don't. It's meant so you sort of put them into place and then you snap the thing down. So there's a little this white side of the tab here. Can you see that? I hope so. I'll zoom in post, hopefully. This flicks up. So if I can sort of try and flick that up and show you. Like so. So this is now a little flicked up there, and then this will just come out of there quite nicely, but it is stuck to this bit of stuff here, so it might be it might give up a bit of a fight. So that does just peel off of there, but be bloody careful, like just gently pull it off like I just did, and then this will come out of there like so, and then I would always slap that back down just so you don't end up like, because if you knock it, that is going to be a royal pain in the backside if you don't break it to get it back on. So save yourself some grief. Right, so the next thing is to remove the hard drive, which I believe I can't see from here. I need to stand up a bit. I believe it's this little screw here, and there's one here as well, and then that whole enclosure should come out. So let's do that. So that thing comes out of there. These are little, they're not sticky pads, but they're a bit of padding, and if it's been in there a while like mine has, it did put up a slight fight about it. So right, now we need to take this out. This is the SATA connector. To be honest, I've probably made life slightly harder for myself. That probably didn't actually need to come out of there. You could probably have took this out and then just taken that out. Yeah, don't do what I just did. Leave that in there, because if you're just changing a hard drive, you should be able to just unscrew that like you'll have to peel it off because it's stuck to that, but you can peel that up, pull that out, you know, unscrew it, pull that out, and then you'll be able to then get that out without needing to put that back in. So I've just made more work for myself, so don't be an idiot like me. So next thing is to take these 4 screws either side out of the enclosure, I suppose enclosure, caddy, whatever it is. No, that wasn't a plug for my channel either. And then we can then use the same screws to fit the SSD into this, and then we can slot that back in. I'm going to probably slide that back into that first, because that will be easier when it's out. And then Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. We'll get the other hard drive in, and then it's waiting for tomorrow. I'm going to go murder me dog. One moment. Right, now the orientation of this matters, so it's worth taking a note. It's going in like that, so on the hard drive you're replacing it with, it depends on the manufacturer, but generally it'll be the same way as this. You'll have your power connector, the longer connector on the left, and your data on the right. So you just need to mimic that with your replacement drive. It doesn't want to give it up. Oh, it doesn't want to give it up because I'm pushing it the wrong way. So it comes out the opposite way to that bell end. Right, there we go. I'm not professional. I'm just an idiot. Just if anybody's interested, by the way, the original drive is a Seagate Mobile HDD for a hard drive, and it's a 1 terabyte by default. And if I can, wonder if I zoom down. There we are. If you're wondering, there's the part number. Also, I didn't actually show the thing, did I? So, if anybody's interested, also, this is the original SSD, and yes, it is a SATA SSD, and it's 128 gigs by default, which is, to be honest, these days is barely enough for Windows, just for Windows itself. So it lasted well, but this will be a nice upgrade to have a terabyte. Right, I've got the SSD I'm replacing it with. There we are, if you're interested in any details. Right, I shall put this back in here, and so when it was this way up, you want it the power to be on the left, so you want it to go in like this. So, and then the holes on the side, exactly the same screws that came out of it all go into these. They're all standardized, so I'm going to do that. Don't put stuff on the components like I just did, I'm an idiot. Again, don't be careful not to cross thread anything, or you will have a horrible time. And with these, I've done it again. With these, I'm just nipping them up. You know, you don't want to over tighten anything, especially with SSDs, because they tend to be, the enclosures tend to be not as strong as regular hard drive, because they don't need to be, because the chips inside of them are like that big. They're only this form factor to be able to, you know, fit standard hard drive slots, which is nice. Right then, SSD in place. So that needs just plonking back down into, oh actually no, before I do that, you won't need to do this step, but because I'm an idiot, I'm having to do this step. I need to plug this back in. Ow! Hit me head again. I hope you saw that. I hope my head was in the way, but I was concentrating hard. Yeah, they're tricky little connectors. You've got to get them sort of tucked under, and then you can, when you slap that pin down it, then nice holds on it nice. So at least if this for whatever reason is not connected, it's just a case of taking the back off again and adjusting that connection there, but I think I got it. So, what we need to do now is plug in the hard drive into this connector. And yes, I would probably recommend, be gentle, obviously, be very careful, but you can do that without disconnecting that. Definitely, I would say. So, if I put that around there, slot that back into its slot, stick you back down. Perfect. Just got to screw it back in, and then that's it. That's all I can do until tomorrow. Right, so I'm going to come back tomorrow. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just place this gently back in place just to prevent any too much dust or whatever settling. Just sort of where it would be normally. Like that. Just, I mean, I'm going to give them a clean, again, just out of paranoia's sake before I fit them, but just that keeps the dust off any of these thermal pads that were around here and here as well. So I'm going to come back tomorrow and hopefully we'll have a finished laptop. So I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, it's the next day, and also again apologies if you can hear the heater, it's freaking cold. So this is Thermal Grizzly Duranaut, which is apparently the successor to Cryonaut. So hopefully it'll be pretty good. So I'm going to get this open, and we can do a mini unboxing video. Hey guys, welcome to my unboxing. And we're done. Oh fuck! There's more in there than I thought. So, looks like we've got... hang on, let me put something down. That's very nice. Do you know what? I was gonna use the Squirrel Wizard card, but the fact that it comes with these little spatulas is absolutely marvellous. So that should make things a lot easier. And also there's something else in here. What is this? What is this? This is... oh, it's instructions. How to apply and all that. Well, is it plugged in? Yeah, basically. Anyway, we don't need to do that. Right, I'm going to give these one last clean then, just for paranoia's sake, and then we'll get the thermal paste on. Right then. So, I'm probably going to use... mind you, they're both quite useful, because that's good for... that way, and then it's good for... that way. Technical term. Right, let's get this on. And also it comes with a little stopper, by the looks of it. Or is that a different type of nozzle? Oh, it's a different, it's like a spready nozzle. Ah, that's quite good. I don't know if you can see. But it comes, like, as you get the stuff obviously comes out of there, and then you can use that to spread it. I might use that actually, I don't know. I'll put it on without first, and then I'll see how well it goes. I'm just going to put a little bit on it first. I can always add a bit. It's more awkward to take it off than it is to add. Right, it's quite cold in here, so I'm actually just going to warm that up again using the heat gun, because it's not spreading that well. Right, I'll be the first one to admit that this isn't particularly pretty, but just a warning if you use this stuff. I've heard wonderful things about it. And it's good stuff, but if you're going to do this job, do it in the summer. Because doing it in here when it's freezing cold, and because I've only got a 15 amp circuit for this shed, so I can only really ideally run one thing, like either the heater or the heat gun. So I've just turned the heater off to put the heat gun on, and it's still quite cold in here, so it's made spreading that quite a pain in the backside, if I'm honest. But we got there in the end. Definitely got there in the end. I'm going to put my cap on before I lose any more, but I've still got quite a bit left in there, so that'll do for a computer build or something coming up in the future. Right then, so now we'll get the cooler back on, and then we can start reassembling. If I don't hit my head again, but how many times put a counter in, Will, future me, put a counter in, how many times I hit my head off of this thing, if I remember, of course. Oh, me knob's coming off. One thing to note when you're tightening these up, you want to go alternating, so you want to do that one a bit, that one a bit, that one a bit, that one a bit, and keep doing that so it's even pressure all the way down. All I'm doing is just counting the turns, so I'm doing 3 for each, and then moving on. Well, that's not quite all the way down. I'm going to start tightening the CPU ones down as well, just to make sure everything's lined up. Right, the heatsink is in. I had a slight mini panic attack a second ago. I thought I'd lost one of the CPU screws, but it turned out what I'd done is I'd put it in the wrong square in my little tray, so I confused myself. So if you do that yourself, don't do that. Don't be an idiot like me. I don't know why I went northern then, sorry. So next step, get the fans back in, else a heatsink's not that useful without a fan. And I think while I'm at it, I might just run the blaster through there, just to make sure all these fins are clear, because I've got to do that. And then once I've done that, we'll get the battery back in and the case back on, and we'll give it a try. Right, this one's going to be a fiddly git, so I'm going to put it in first. That was a little bit tricksy, that one, because you've got to plug that in. Well, I recommend plugging that in first because it was easier. Slot it in place and then tuck this wire back. It goes over the top one, under that one, and then over and over, just if you're wondering. But that's back in place now, so we can get the screws back in. I do apologise if my big hands have been covering a lot of these shots. I'm doing my best so I can show you what to do, but I'm right-handed, so it's a bit awkward. Ignore that. That was from me trying to glue my headset back together the other night. Just so you know, this little corner here slides underneath that heat pipe there. So just a word of warning, if you're like trying to put it straight down, you need to go under it, like under and in. Fans are back in. The most nerve-wracking part is done, I think. Well, providing I've put enough thermal paste on it. I think I have. I've done a thin layer with just a little bit extra, just so if it does squeeze out, it's only minimal. But it should be good coverage, but we'll see. Right, let's get the battery back in. I've got to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Dell's choice of cable there, the way it sort of goes back on itself. But that's how it went, that's how it came out, so that's how it's going back in. I'm just deliberately trying not to push that too hard. I'm just sort of trying to push it down. I'll let the case hold it in place. Battery is back in, so it's just the case now. Now, how brave am I feeling? Do I just put the case back on? Yeah, screw it. Let's be brave. Let's hit the camera. I'm so sorry. Are you all right there, everybody? Hope that hasn't been flickering too much. Right then. I don't think it was particularly dusty, but I just got a paintbrush and just give this a bit of a clean. It's nice that they include a dust shield on the intake. That really helps with dust. So let's get this back on. I did put all the hard drives in. I did. Is everybody in? Oh, you're not. Yeah, you just want to go around until you hear them all click. Ah, see, that one wasn't in. I mean, in theory, the screw should bring it all into place anyway, but it's good just to make sure. Right, that feels pretty good. And I can't see any gaps around the edges, so okay, screws are going in. And again, not that this matters too much, but I'm putting them in the same way they came out just because paranoia. I remember now, a couple of screws that didn't come out. That's why these didn't quite sit as nice down, but they will go in. Ah, see, I felt that pull in then. That's nice now. That's going in very, very well. Yeah, just be warned, if those two don't come out for you as well. I don't know what, I don't think they're captive. They just didn't come out. And I pushed them and they still didn't come out. So I just left them. But yes, we'll get the rest in. Right, that's in. They're all in. No screws left over. Probably should do with the dust, but let's go and test it. Right, moment of truth. Will it work? I'm going to turn that one light off. Not both lights off. I fat fingered it. And let's see. If this does work, this should boot up fairly quickly. That's weird. I expect to hear a noise like from the hard drive, and there isn't one. It's basically, well, of course it's silent. There's no moving parts. Are we good? Ah, it seems to be booting. Yes, that meant the clone worked, and hopefully it worked for the thing. Well, I will fix this. I promise. It's only been coming up about 50,000 million times. Yeah, I think we're good. Did I actually turn the switch on? I did. I think it's all working. You can see my hideously untidy desktop now, but yeah, I'm gonna say that's finished. So I'm gonna quickly run. I'm gonna probably download the Intel Extreme Tweaker thingy, whatever it's called, and do a stress test just to make sure that thermal paste, has actually been good. But fingers crossed, that should be it. Okay, good news. I'm standing all the way back here just so I don't get the light shining on it. But good news, it's working. I'm doing a stress test and it's hovering, what's that, about 76 degrees? And it's not thermal throttling. It is power limit throttling though. I'm not sure, that might be just a setting in the motherboard, but the important part is not thermal throttling, which means the thermal paste is doing its job. So I'm glad about that. Apparently this can, normally you might get about 90, 95 or whatever plus degrees on this particular laptop, and with that Duranaut thermal paste, it's brought it down. I mean, I don't know sadly I don't have a before comparison, but it seems to have brought it down a lot, because when I was stress testing like this before, the fans were going absolutely nuts, and they're going now, but not as bad as they used to. So I think that's good. I'm gonna have a look up, see. It might be a motherboard limitation, but that power throttling thing, that might be only available in desktop form, where you can do overclocking and stuff, and I'm not interested in overclocking. I was just interested in making this run better. So I think that's a success. We are definitely good to go for GROCS January. Yes. I don't know. Bye. Well, there we have it. That's the upgrade all done and dusted. Went surprisingly well, actually. I mean, a few hiccups along the way, like the thermal paste running out and things like that, but overall went pretty well. So me and Ben will be running the GROCS January event, which is the Gloucestershire Robot Combat Society. So if you want to get signed up before the 24th, go ahead and do that, and we'll hopefully see you there. Well, that's it for this video. So thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and I'll see you next time. Ta-da! Word of warning, if you use a regular brush you might cause a static something. A shot. Start again. Forgot I was still tethered. There's none left in here. Ow. And then we'll kick the TV.